Paradox Interactive has a bit of a weird problem. And what is this weird problem, you ask, ASpec? Well, the problem is with DLC. And this is a very weird one because when it comes to games outside of PDS games, only really MMOs have this problem. And this is, of course, the problem of longevity. What do I mean by this? Well, let's take Crusader Kings. Crusader Kings was finally put to bed about a year ago in 2019, and it has been in development since about 2011. That's 8 years of nothing but Crusader Kings expansions. This also applies to another game of Paradox, which is, of course, Europa Universalis 4. Now, before you click away, this will be relevant to Stellaris very shortly, so hold your horses. What is the problem? Well, the problem with EU4 is that they've got over 300 euros or dollars, depending on your region, of course, in DLC available for the game. And this causes some problems, specifically the getting into the game scenario. If you are a new player, or if you are a friend of somebody who wants to try to get into a Paradox game, and they buy the base game, usually if they don't play it at a standard store price of $39, they would be told, hey, you should probably get some of the expansions as well. And then, of course, the search for the deals go on. However, this is, of course, not always the case, and you're going to be forced to buy some of that there DLCs in their full price. My god, the Granor again. Okay. And this is, of course, a problem because it adds a very high threshold for people to get into PDS games. EU4, of course, being a good example here, with all their titles and their content packs being over $300, not even including the music available for the game. Thank God that in EU4, if you buy the soundtrack, you will get all the music regardless, so you don't have to deal with all these separate music packs that come out, because yes, that is a thing in EU4. In the past, of course, in CK2. Thankfully, we don't have to deal with that anymore. The boys and girls over at Brands and Paradox decided, you know what, let's just give them the soundtrack and we'll update one over time. Soundtrack's probably also one of the best investments you can make. But yeah, back to this threshold when it comes to getting into the game. This causes some serious problems. How are you going to get new players to play your game in an efficient way, or at least in an easy and quick way, without having them to pony up $300 in worth of a monetary value to get to where everybody else is? How do you catch up to all of these players that have been already playing the game for a long time? And this was unveiled earlier last week, where the developers on the forum were saying, hey, we're going to be experimenting with something new. We were not going to tell you what it is, but we're running some stuff in the background here, and you will find out after the patch. And people were starting to dig, and they started to dig and dig and dig, and they found the following: a subscription model for Europa Universalis 4. Now, what does this mean? It means that a subscription model has been made available to a select group of players, where they, for $4.99 or $5 a month, can subscribe to the game in its current form, get everything for that price. Now, I like to illustrate this. If you had a subscription model for the game for EU4 since launch, including the original game, you would have paid $385 since that time. That's a big chunk of money. Sure, the game has been out for almost 7 years, and counting everything out, $60 a year. Sure, that's totally understandable, but there you have it. Subscription models are potentially coming to EU4. Now, if this experiment is successful, I would not be surprised that this particular model is going to be rolled out to every single other currently in production Paradox game on the market, including Stellaris. Now, what does this mean? It means that there potentially is going to be a subscription model available on a game-by-game basis. I'm not talking, hey, you pay $20 a month or $10 a month, you get access to the entire library. No, $5 for one game, and you get to enjoy it in its entirety. Now, again, I can totally understand why they're doing this. It's difficult for people to get into, and of course, they want to get that dripping cash every single month in that wallet so that they can keep developing their games, which is totally understandable. Paradox games in general are surprisingly good value for what you're getting. The free updates and the expansions. Usually the free updates, you get the mechanics and then you can access all the mods created with it. You usually only pay for the content, at least within the Stellaris series. Does this mean, however, that you can no longer buy DLC or expansions separate from this? Yes, you will still be able, apparently, to buy expansions separate if you're already ahead. If you're already been playing the game since launch, like I have, you can still buy your expansions in a normal way. Now, again, this is an experiment that they're currently running with EU4, a game that I would not be surprised is going to be put to bed sometime in the near future. Crusader Kings came out in 2011, the end of 2011. EU4 came out in 2013. I would not be surprised if this is the last year for EU4, and then of course Crusader Kings maybe will get that subscription, and then Stellaris still has another 3 years to go before it's ready to prepare for number 2. Because yes, any game that is a success is gonna get a sequel. You're going to be able to bet your bottom dollar on that. What's going to contain Stellaris 2? Who knows? It'll probably be a combination of every single item in the expansion, plus some expansions that we've had so far, plus some additional value. But hey, that is just something that it's something we can think about in the future. So what do you think of this? Overall, DLCs within Stellaris comparatively to EU4 Crusader Kings are incredibly fair. Relatively, that is, because, well, we don't pay for music packs. We don't pay for content packs. There is a lot of very interesting things going on with their DLC model these days, where, specifically in Stellaris, a game that is exceedingly popular. It's by far the biggest game from PDS till date. We don't get as many DLCs as some of the other ones. I believe EU4 has over 39 or something ridiculous like that. In Stellaris, we've got to date, if you buy everything not on sale, about $138 dues worth of value in your wallet, if you haven't paid, of course, for any discounts. This includes the base game, which sold at $39.99 at the time. Still, though, it's always a good idea to start looking around for these deals online, because there's constant ones. Which brings me to another point. Right now, in the Humble Bundle, and as of the release of this video, for the next 10 days, this is not an ad, by the way, EU4, the game they're experimenting with, almost in its entirety, the expansions that is available for about $17. $17. It's a good time to buy it, actually, because it is objectively a really good game. You should probably pick it up if you like this sort of thing, especially if you like to see your color of your country to grow slowly over the entire map, that is. But hey, if that's not your thing, sure. But it kind of clashes with this experiment they're doing with the subscription model. Now, here's the thing. I don't have a problem with this sort of subscription service. I subscribe to Origin, for instance, so I get access to all of the EA titles. Yes, ASpec is in fact subscribed to the big boogeyman on the internet. Ooh, Crystal Pyramid. Interesting. Yeah, I like games. What can I say? And I'm always willing to pay for it. The thing is, however, as soon as unique content get attached to these subscription models, then the gloves are off, because then you're like, hey, I want to get everything for the PDS game that I'm playing, but I'm kind of forced to get the subscription model in order to get everything. Whether or not in EU4 it'd probably be like a content pack, or like, oh, Prussian Army or something along those lines. In Stellaris it'd probably be a ship pack, or maybe I don't know, something super basic. I don't think we had super basic packs in Stellaris aside from some portrait packs. I think that would pretty much be the limit here. But still, I can totally understand why they're doing it. It's difficult for players to get into it. As long as a model like this gets introduced early on within the development cycle of late in the mid of the development cycle of the games, like, we've already released 6 expansions. If other people want to get on board and they want to spend $200, hey, welcome aboard. You can always cancel next month, and of course you'll lose the access to the game. Still, though, what do you think about this? A potential subscription model to Stellaris? Would you be agreeable to this? Would you incentivize your friends to come on board and say, hey, let's play some Stellaris. It's gonna be fun. Here's $5, and we'll play it for a month. If you don't like it, you can always cancel it. Or what they're probably counting on, forget about it, and then all of a sudden you're out of money or something along those lines. The sky, in fact, is the limit when it comes to these sort of things. Are you willing to pay $5 a month for a game that is definitely not an MMO where you would see this sort of stuff? Because I don't think anybody else in the industry does this. This also leads me to a tweet from the BizDev guy, Shams Rajani, over Paradox, who was asking about, is there any single-player games that you know of that have battle passes? So who knows whether or not they're developing something like that as well. So yeah, let me know what you feel about this particular scenario. How do you feel about a potential subscription service to get new players on board in these games that have insane amounts of expansions already attached to it? Leave your comments below. I'm looking forward. This video, of course, as always, has been made possible by the boys and girls from the Patreon. If you want to get involved, hit that button below. The Patreon's right there. You can read all about it over there if you feel to like throw in a cup of coffee a month or something along those lines. Everything is always good. In the meantime, we're going to go wrap it up here. If you want to see more Stellaris content, make sure you subscribe. There's a nice little video here for you to watch if you like Stellaris or any sort of games that I do on this channel. Feel free to hit that playlist. Keep it running. Keeps the moolah in my pocket. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take good care of yourselves, and as always, each other.